author of the journals.
Back in February of 2015, the reboot of a beloved series had been announced. Naturally, seeing how reboots nowadays are usually
Waffles, 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 waffles.
yeah. So when it was Ducktales' turn, many people were anxious until we got the cast, we got the theme song, we got the trailer, and we got the episode. The result? A show with an amazing voice cast, great charming animation, action, adventure, Donald Duck originality, and an overarching story about a question that most people wanted an answer to, since the show originally aired 30 years ago. What happened to the triplets' mother? According to the show, almost nobody knows what happened to Della Duck. Scrooge goes to extreme measures to hide the secret.
I never saw our mailman again.
While all that Donald told the boys was that she's gone. The show has already given us a couple of important clues, which are only strengthened by the history that the character has had in the Donald Duck comics. Della Duck, Dumbella Duck, or whatever other name was made up for the character in the various comics, has only been mentioned by name in most of them. However, there is one comic that actually gave an explanation to her absence. In the 80th anniversary edition of the Dutch Donald Duck magazine titled 80 is prachtig, Della Duck is the twin sister of Donald Duck, mystery twins. While Donald was always interested in becoming a sailor, Della instead wanted to become a pilot. In fact, she was a test pilot and the first woman who flew across the ocean. After not having seen her brother in a long while, she asks Donald to take care of her sons while she goes on a space trip with the first rocket ever built. Much to the surprise of Donald, who wasn't even aware he had any nephews. At the launch, however, Della flew into space at the speed of light. Gyro Gearloose managed to contact her much to the excitement of Huey, Dewey and Louie. As far as she knows, she's only been in space for about 15 minutes and claims that she should keep flying until her fuel tank is half empty, then return to Earth. Despite being in space for years, of course. Before leaving, she says that Huey, Dewey and Louie look very similar to her children. In order to not mess up their mother's mission, they tell her their names are Lucky, Joost and Victor, as they tearfully say farewell to their mom. This story came out in 2014, 1 year before the new DuckTales cartoon was announced. Now, in the show, the information we get about Della Duck is as follows. She used to be an adventurer together with Scrooge and Donald until something happened that made her disappear and Scrooge and Donald to harbor negative feelings to each other. After mentioning it in a pilot and in a letter written by Della herself, we now know that this had something to do with her taking the Spear of Selene. Now in Greek mythology, Selene is the goddess of the moon, which means that this spear will also have something to do with the moon. The moon is also a very important part of DuckTales history. After all, one of the most popular themes from the DuckTales video game and from video game history in general was the moon theme. Combining 80 is prachtig, the Spear of Selene and the love for the moon theme, I believe that in the 2017 DuckTales reboot, Della Duck is stuck on the moon. Or at least in space. Now what does this mean for the show? We will at least get an episode, perhaps even the finale, where our main cast goes to the moon to rescue or retrieve Della. If Della used the Spear of Selene to do this, their only way to go to the moon would be in a rocket or a spaceship, preferably piloted by Launchpad. However, something in the third episode stuck out to me. In the room dedicated to Della Duck, we see a drawing on the ceiling, wielding the Spear of Selene. This same person also has a statue without arms or head in the room. However, next to the figure wearing the Spear of Selene, we see a mysterious dark figure riding a horse. The room makes sure to point out the importance of the horse too, having 3 other items in the room referencing it. So we could also assume that this horse is a Pegasus who can magically fly them to the moon. However, there is still the question of who the mysterious figure could be. Now get ready, because I think the dark figure is none other than Magica the Spell. In the Beagle Birthday Massacre, we meet Lena, who is Magica's niece. The location where we first meet her and where she keeps ending up throughout the episode is an abandoned theater. Now this theater bears striking resemblances to the ceiling in Della's room. Since we are shown Magica here for the first time in the series and the fact that she will be a big antagonist in the show, we can assume that she is the person on the painting. If she is the horse rider, then perhaps our main characters will even be forced to work together with her to get Della back, perhaps in exchange for the lucky dime. There is still a lot of information we could get in the following episodes, but using the information we have right now, this seems to be the most logical and satisfying conclusion to either the season or the show. Anyways, that's just a theory, a Fenix theory. Thanks for watching. Tell me down in the comments, do you think Della is in space, on the moon, or something else happened entirely? Also, tell me what you think of Magica the Spell. Is she in any way involved in the disappearance of Della Duck? And will we have her show up in the finale? I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, you could always leave a like or subscribe, but honestly, literally every other person on YouTube asks you to do those things, so I probably shouldn't be asking for it. I'd appreciate it though. And with that being said, the Phoenix has to fly away again. Goodbye.